let's get into how to make changes, and these are personal changes that stick, that stay around, that don't fade out somewhere along the way. You know, you'll probably lose some kind of energy if it fades out on you. If you're trying to not be so angry all the time, that's a personal change. When something happens that you don't like, perhaps you get very angry. That's something that you may want to change. You perhaps want to stop getting so angry at every instance. Well, that's something that you can do about it. You can help that uh, in a very particular way. But how do you make that change and maintain that change over a specific amount of time? Now, it's important that you understand that you have to get started right for it to continue right. And perhaps this is the problem, is that you don't really take the time to put what's necessary in trying to accomplish what you're trying to do. So you don't get started right. This happens, and it happens more often than not. So don't think it's strange that this happens to you. There are four basic things that I'm going to discuss with you concerning how to make personal changes that stick. You see, the thing is, getting it to stick so that in the case if you're angry, you don't necessarily get angry every time that you normally would. So you want to make this change. That's fine. That's great. But how do you keep that going so that the next time you're reacting to the change that you made and not the old self? And so you can change this behavior and do something really about it. This is what we're going to discuss. So there are four things. The first thing is you have to have your mind made up. What is it that you want? You have to make your mind up and not be wishy washy about it and not say one thing one time and then say something else the next time because you forgot what you said and what you've done the first time. Okay. So your mind has to be made up. You have to have placed some kind of emphasis on what you're trying to do. It's important that this emphasis remains in place. So, how do you keep it in place? By writing down what you really want, writing down what you really want. Okay, it's important that you do that. So while you are writing down, you're putting in your mind, you're putting in your head exactly what you want. All right, so write it down. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to do? Write it down. Very important. So when you write it down and it happens that way, then you are able to begin the journey because now, number one, you've made up your mind. Okay. And you're going to repeat that process the next time. And you're going to repeat it the next time. Why? Because you're going to remember what it is. You're going to write it down. And that way it's going to mean something over time. Okay. So once you decide what you want, then you decide the outcome. Number two, what is it that you want to do and how do you put that in terms of an outcome? That's the end result. So why are we looking at the end result first? because it'll give you a map and a guideline as to which direction you want to go in. A map and a guideline. Very important for you to do that. So now you have made up your mind. You know exactly what you want. You have articulated this, writing it down, and you know what you want. And so, what's the very next thing? You are to decide the outcome. What is the map? What is the path to get to where you want to get? Okay, in your personal quest to make a change and make it stick. Okay, so that says that there is a certain amount of power in place that you can have, that you do have. You got a certain amount of power that you can put into place. Now, this certain amount, don't get fooled by when I say certain amount, okay? Because what I mean is that you have enough power to do what you want to do. So you have enough power to, number one, uh, to know what you want, okay, and to develop this, and number two, to decide the outcome. You can figure out the map. Okay, let's take anger for instance. Uh, Perhaps you want to not be so angry when someone opposes or have a different opinion than what you think, and you find yourself argumentative. Perhaps you don't want to be this way all the time. And I'm just using this as an example. So you can take steps, you can decide what these steps are so that you are able to enact specifically what your mind is made up that you want to do. You're able to enact this specifically. Okay, so specific steps are highly necessary for you to do. Specific steps toward your outcome. So you map it out. You know which way to go. So now perhaps the thing for you to do, and I'm, as I said, I'm just using this as an example. When someone opposes what you uh, think, and they have a different opinion, then what you'll do is try to breathe before you respond. Okay, so you take a couple of deep breaths and maybe look away and look back and take a couple of more deep breaths. All this before you respond. Before you get where you're going to say something, take a couple of deep breaths, be slow about your response, think about what you're getting ready to say, and see if it matches what you want to say and not from a standpoint of anger. Now, when you have time to think, when you have time to do what you really want to do, you'll find that it's easier for you to pursue the outcome that you really want. You'll find it's much easier for you to pursue that thing that you made up your mind that you want to do. So you're slow to your response. You're being slow. Okay, and that's intentional. Now, in everything, you can replace uh, anger with whatever you want to replace it with. You can replace that. Okay, so whatever, it doesn't make any difference. The personal change is what you desire, what you want, not based on anyone else, not based on any other situation. Keep everything separate. Okay, so you don't base what you have made your mind up about on other people and expect what they want you to do and do what they want you to do. Remember, this is a personal change. That makes it internal, a personal change. So it's internal. It's something that you want to do for yourself. No one else even have to know about the outcome that you desire. Okay. So number three, you pursue it every single day. Pursue your outcome every day. Don't let a day pass without you pursuing your outcome. Now, you can pursue your outcome by simply by reading over what you wrote down about making up your mind as to what you want. You can pursue it by doing that. Maybe the opportunity for you to pursue your outcome in a real situation doesn't come in the way of anger, the example that I was using. Perhaps it doesn't come because no one has made you angry. But does that mean you do nothing about it? Absolutely not. You project yourself into the situation and into a situation. You just create that. You see yourself in a situation, perhaps something that's already happened in the past, and you are looking now to bring that to the future so that you can decide how you're going to react. And you can take your time about it and you can go through the steps just by what's in your mind, something that you didn't do well. And you can step back into the picture and decide, okay, how would I react to it now? Okay, so you pursue it every day. If something doesn't happen that brings the opportunity for you to pursue it, you can do it mentally. Read over what you have written down at least once a day. Okay, what are you doing? You're programming your mind. Remember, what goes in it is dealt with in some way. You might as well have some control over how you react and over how you feel you're thinking, because you may not be thinking that way at all, really, if you've had a chance to think. All right, so pursue it every day. Does that make sense? Do something every day. Go over some words that upset you, okay, when someone opposes what you're trying to do, and that is to be less angry. Okay, go over some words and then plan out how you will react. And in that, it's important to take a few breaths. This will help you to settle down and think. Think, what do you want? Think in this situation. Do you feel like you need to defend yourself? Well, in most situations that make you angry, it's not about defense. You may think it is without thinking about the situation, about whatever it is. You may quickly decide that it is, in fact, something to be angry about. Okay? But remember, you've made up your mind. You've made up your mind, number one. You've decided your outcome. So now it's time to pursue your outcome. Okay? And now it's time to act the way you've wanted to act. Okay, so you can pursue it every single day, whether it happens or not. Okay. Then number four, think about what it is. Think about what it is. Why do I say that? because you can think about what is not. You can think about what is not. And this is usually the approach that most people take when they're trying to make a change in their life, is that they're thinking about what is not. And they are consumed with the idea of what is not. And every time something appears something appears that is something that they don't want to happen, then they start thinking about what is not instead of what is. Okay. So in the situation of you being angry, okay, and you determine your outcome specification. You're pursuing it every day. And then now is the opportunity for you to think about what is. But let's say anger is starting to overcome you. You begin to feel like it's not working for you. Okay, immediately start thinking about what is working, not about what is not working, but about what is working. This is very important for you to do. Remember, you're programming yourself, you're programming your mind every day, every day. And this will take effect until it becomes a natural process. And before you know it, you're going to think about what is all the time. If you complete these four things every single day, reprogram your mind every single day. Okay, so now how can you override the natural inclination? Let's say, for instance, to get angry. You may feel a natural inclination and not control your temper very well, or that some people would say you just have a temper, okay, and you're not managing very well. Well, the first thing you need to do, if that's happening to you and you have an outline specification, something that you really want to do, you have pursued it, and uh, you're really thinking about what is, but this inclination to be angry is starting to take over. Well, what you need to do is to physically shake it off. Okay? Do something physical. All right? Don't just sit there and let it fester, whatever it is. Let it get bad because you're thinking, or because soon what's going to happen is you thinking about what is will turn into what is not. And then you're going to feel angry with yourself because of it happening to you again. Now, don't expect perfect action and perfection every time from the beginning. There will be some times when you may slip. Expect this. You're not perfect, and any plan you make is not going to be perfect. Okay? So you may have to go back and readjust what you really want. Perhaps you missed a little bit and you did not complete what you really, really want, number one. And then uh, and then you didn't decide fully what the outcome is. So you couldn't dedicate yourself to this personal change that you wanted to make because you were not clear. Clarity is extremely important when you're trying to make a personal change. Okay, and not clarity that seeks someone else's approval, but clarity that seeks your approval. Now, if you can't do that, then you don't have enough information about it. You got to really think about what you're trying to do. And if you can't decide how to go about it, you need to investigate. Turn on the curiosity switch. And then when you reach over and turn that on, then you begin to seek for the door. Remember, it's behind the door. Okay, the information that you need is right there and it's close to you. Otherwise, you could not pursue getting the outcome that you want. It's there. You can find it. You can talk to other people that maintain their temper very well. And you could ask them, listen, I would like to change this that happens to me, but I'm having issues, I'm having trouble. How do you maintain your composure when someone makes you angry? It's okay to ask someone else. It's okay to buy a book. It's okay to speak to a professional about it, but ultimately, it's going to have to be you and your outcome. So you take that information and that which applies to you, you plant it into your outcome so that you are now specific, okay? And you have some examples that you've gone over by pursuing it. So you know what your mind is, and you know what your outcome is, and you are pursuing it every day. Very, very important. This is going on every day, whether the situation, as I said, brings the opportunity for you to do it or not. You can pursue it by reviewing what you have written down, okay? And you finally are thinking about what is, all right? In the case of being angry, what is? I am calm. I am in control. You see, I am very slow to anger. I can get my point across without yelling. I can decide what I want to say. I don't have to respond in the heat of the night. I can respond intelligently. So you can write all these things down and study it. Make it a part of you. Over time, and sometimes a very short amount of time, it can be a part of you, your life. You will surprise yourself as you go on. Things will surprise you. Okay? So now I want you to take a moment, put a situation in your head, in your mind. I'm going to give you just a moment to do that. Put a situation in your mind. Think about somewhere where you failed. It doesn't have to be anger. I was just using that as an example. But somewhere where you have failed to do something the way you really wanted to do. Take a moment and do that. Put it in your mind. Okay, not something you succeeded at, but something that you have really failed to do, but you didn't want it that way. Something where you need to make a personal change. Take a moment, breathe, shake it, breathe, and put this thing in your mind. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the emotion. Don't be afraid of the feeling. But I want you to put this in your mind. Remember, something that you have failed at, that you really did not want it that way. Okay? So now that you do that, you've done that, then I want you to express yourself in the situation the way you would normally express yourself. So if that's in the case of anger, if that's by yelling, I want you to see yourself yelling. Okay? So see the failure, see it. Don't be afraid to experience it. See the failure so that you know exactly what it is. And you're not looking at the right when you should be looking at the left. Wherever the problem lies, I don't want you to be afraid of it. I want you to experience it. There's a reason, and I'll share that with you in a moment. But experience it. Okay, I'm giving you a moment to do that. Some of you is going to take longer. It's going to be a little harder. All right, but if you follow what I'm telling you, then you can develop the outcome that you really need. All right, but first, you have to see yourself as you are, whatever that is. Okay, you got it in your mind now, whatever that picture is. Okay, hold on to that because I want you to do something that perhaps you're not used to doing. I want you to create a movie. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the movie run in your mind. You may have to close your eyes to do it. If you do and you can concentrate better, then by all means do it. But see the movie. If it's a short scene, run it over and over again in your mind. Okay? If it's some words or something that you just could not put uh, put together right, then I want you to hear yourself, see yourself, and feel what is going on in the movie and set the movie into automatic motion. Okay? Now step out of the movie and look at the movie. See you in the movie and see how you are acting, what you're saying. Hear that. Okay? Don't be in the movie. I want you to be outside of it, looking at you, looking at you and your failure. All right? Now put a pin in that right there. Put a pin in that. We're going to come back to that. But now let the movie run. So now what you're going to do is put into your mind now. Remember the movie is running. It doesn't require your mind. It's just there and it's going. All right. Close your eyes. All right. If you can do this with your eyes open, that's fine. That's okay. But I want you to put together now how you want to do what is happening, what is not happening in the movie. So let's take anger, for instance, again. If you see the movie and you're yelling at someone, or you're upset, or you're out of control, okay, then I want you to think about being in control. Think about that. Seeing yourself as being in control through your eyes. Try to imagine that. Try to hear calm words. All right. I'm giving you a moment because I want you, if you're not used to doing this, it could be difficult at first. Okay. But you will be able to do it. So now make sure that you are doing this. Make sure that you have in your mind that thing that is real for you in the way that you want to respond. Remember, now you're making up your mind as to how you want to get this done. You'll be able to do it. If you think about it, You're letting the movie run where you failed and you're creating a new you and new responses. All right. Not the old you. If that comes up, you haven't stepped out of the movie. You haven't stepped out of it. If you're fighting to recruit the mindset that you really want, then perhaps you have not stepped out of the movie. I don't want you to be bothered by the movie right now. But I want you to let it run. But while it's running, I want you to see how you really want to be. Hold on to that thought. If it's very short, hold on to that short thought. If it's longer, hold on to that longer thought. Whatever you need to overcome the negative situation, whatever you need, put it in your mind right now. Hold it there. Okay, because what you're going to do is you're going to step back into the movie with this new mindset. Okay, not yet, not yet. I don't want you to get there yet because you probably have not decided on the outcome. How do you really want to react? What about the changes that you really want to make? Okay, develop that outcome. The outcome is the fruit of your efforts. The outcome is the fruit of your efforts. So your outcome is always, and I repeat, always positive. Always. The outcome is positive. You start thinking negative things, then you need to detract other things away from you. Your attention needs to be on the outcome. Have you developed that? Okay, I've given you time to do that. If you fail to do it, you can come back and repeat the exercise. Now, let me say before I go on, you can do this anytime. You can make it part of that everyday thing I was talking about. You can make it a part of that. You can do this every day as often as you want, several times a day. I don't think that will be necessary. Okay. But put your attention on that. Now bring the movie back. See the movie. Bring it back. Remember, you're not frightened of the emotion. You're not frightened of the failure. You're facing it. Okay? Now, I want you to remove you out of the picture. Just remove you, erase you out of it. If you have to close your eyes, do that. But I want you to erase you out of the movie. Now, you haven't done anything else. You're still looking at the movie, except the movie is going to be absent of you. You're going to be absent of the movie. Okay? Do that now. It shouldn't take you long. Erase. Just don't take a long time. Just erase you. Okay, now after you've done that, remember you have developed the outcome, you have developed what you really want and how you really want to react. So now I want you to step into the movie. The old you that didn't do well, that failed, the old you that didn't know what you really wanted, the old you that couldn't make up your mind is out. You have erased the old you. It's gone. You have erased the old you. Now, what are you left with? You're left with you in the picture. Okay? Now, how are you doing this? Your subconscious mind is knows, your subconscious mind knows when you're real and when you're not. Okay, and your subconscious mind will help you do whatever it is you really want to do, or it will seek to help, it will try to help you. All right, so if you're real about this, your subconscious mind will begin to soak this up and get the idea. It'll start sinking in, as we say, it'll start sinking in, and you'll get the idea. Okay, so your subconscious mind, you now have invoked not just how you think, but your subconscious mind is now on board because you see yourself, the new you, in the movie. And so your mind is going to begin to say, and it may take a little time, a few days or whatever. Your mind is going to, your subconscious mind is going to take it in, and it knows when you're real, and it's going to begin to respond how you want to respond. So the first thing that does it is your mind. It's conceived in your mind first. And when it's there and your outcome is there, then you can do what you are trying to do. And right here is where a lot of people fail. Right here, right in this situation. Okay, I want that to soak in a little bit because you are invoking the power of your subconscious mind. When you step back into the movie, the real you knows you. The real you knows what you are trying to do. The real you I'm talking about within your subconscious mind. That's who you want to get in contact with every day because your subconscious mind will soon get the idea. Okay, this is how we are supposed to react. This is how we're supposed to do. This is how we are. Your subconscious mind will get that, and then your feelings, you'll begin to feel, okay, the and see and hear the new things. But you have to do it every day. So now you're in the movie. The new you is reacting, not the angry you, as the example I gave a moment ago. Not the angry you, but the new you. The thing that's your outcome. Okay, it is not simply imagine, it is a deep desire. Now, if you're simply imagining it and it's not a deep desire, then your mind is not made up and your outcome is not defined. Okay, so do that, pursue it every day, but think about what is. So in the movie that you see, you're thinking about what is. I'm calm, for the example of anger. Anger. I'm calm. I'm happy. I can accept criticism, even if it's not constructive criticism. When I don't agree, I can approach that calmly. When something pushes me or goes against the grain of me, I can think about how I want to react before I react. And I will begin that by taking a deep breath. You see, these are things that you have written down. Remember, I said that? You have written these things down and you've been going over it every day, and your subconscious mind will kick in and help you so that you're reacting without even thinking. You don't have to think about it anymore. It can take some time, or for some people, like that. It happens just like that. Okay? So that's how I want you to pursue this. Now, uh, uh, I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions at this point. If you have any questions about what you what I just said and where I can help you, then go ahead and type that in. Okay? And if you don't mind, so that I can see, I'm going to put my glasses on. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Um, the, I have a question here that says, do you recommend meditating to help with sticking to the changes I want in my life? That can be part of the pursuit. Absolutely. It's like whatever you need to do to make it a part of you. Okay, did you get it? Whatever you need to do to make it a part of you. Let me put it like this. I'm going to see when it happens to me. I'm going to see when it happens to me. You can do this by meditating. Meditating, I do advise it. Uh, it can help you to contact that subconscious mind, quiet things down, quiet your emotions down, and place that in your hands. This can be part of your pursuit every day. Some people do meditate every day, and that's how they maintain composure. That's how they think about what is. That's how they can decide the outcome. That's how they can make their mind up about what they want. Okay, so meditation is a good way, it's a good thing to do. Okay, now do I have to meditate? No, you can do it without meditating. Okay, just by thinking, well, a little deeper than just by thinking. Okay, so I want you to hold on to that. Learn how to meditate. Meditate. Remember what I said a little earlier about if you can't decide on that outcome, you don't have enough information about what you want. So it's been difficult for you to make your mind up. So if that happens, then you need to get more information. So if you're interested in meditation, you can get more information about that. There are different kinds of meditation, but the purpose of these different kinds is often the same, and that is to develop a better you. Okay, there's another question here is when someone is elderly uh, and losing independence, but their personality is very strong, how can the family step in to help with this change? Okay, are we speaking of change in the person or change in the family and how to help the person? Okay, I'm not sure what is meant there, but if it's about the person who's making this change in their life, um, we don't really lose independence. The word is we actually dismiss part of our responsibility of ourselves. Okay. Now, you may say you're losing independence or someone is losing independence, but it is a change that's happening in the mind. Okay. And sometimes it's linked to some ailment like Alzheimer disease or things like that. whatever the case is, you need to assimilate um, for the person what uh, uh, is needed for them. Now, remember, if they have changed in their ability to help themselves, then you will have to do it because they'll not be able to do what I'm suggesting that you do for yourself. They don't have the capacity any longer to be able to do it. Okay. Now, when it comes to you, you still have the capacity and you'll have to help this strong willed person, this person who is strong and involved with themselves, and they may not want to do what's right for themselves. Okay, you can't expect this person to follow these procedures that I just suggested to you because they'll not be able to do it. Okay, so you'll have to do it. You'll have to make the change for yourself. You'll have to make the change in yourself in how you respond to them. Okay, sometimes people lose patience with others who are in this position. Okay, and maybe they don't want to react that way. Well, you can do something about it. You may not be able to act the way you want to act, say the things you really want to say, do what you really want to do, because other emotions are riding high in you and you want to make a change. Be more patient. For instance, well, you can follow these procedures that I gave you, these four things. Make up your mind as to what you want, be clear, decide on an outcome, be clear, pursue it every day without fail, and think about what is and what's not. What is, I have more patience. Okay, the mistake that a lot of people make who are in this position is the fact that they don't plan on how they're going to react. They just don't want to react that way, and that's it. They think something osmosis, spontaneous combustion, boom, abracadabra. There it is. It's there. In most cases, it does not work that way. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you. It comes from deep within you. Okay? All right, there's another question here. I feel like I have come a long way uh, to change into a better person. It's been years since I used bad old habits. However, I'm not happy with where I am currently. I think I need to change again. I'm not sure how, but what can I do to explore who I want to become? That can be complicated when you muddy the water. You can't see clearly. Okay. In most cases, that's you can't pin down what you want because there's so many things. There's a plethora of things that are happening. You can't really pin down what you want. You'll have to understand that you can't do everything at the same time. Some things you will not be able to do while you're doing other things. Okay. And if you're like a lot of people, you will choose what's easier first. Okay. And that might be out of sync with what you want. You'll choose what you want that's easier first. Okay. So if you were successful at making a change in your life and it's been a long time, then you perhaps need to think back and see what was going on at that time. What allowed you to develop the outcome that you did? Because obviously, if you made that change, there was an outcome. And then there is something that goes on in our lives where we're just going to change anyway. Okay. Life has a way of changing you. Your experiences have a way of changing you. This is not the type of change I'm talking about. This is where you have specifically developed what you want, not something that's been a natural step, maybe your age group and you're expecting certain things. This is not that type of change. However, if you need to make a change, you need to be clear about what change you need to make. Now, a book is not going to tell you that. A psychologist is not going to tell you that. A psychiatrist is not going to tell you that. A therapist is not going to tell you that. A practitioner is not going to be able to tell you that. Okay? You'll have to decide by getting other information. Now, it's okay to get a book, get the information. It can help you. It's okay to talk with a therapist. It's okay to talk with a psychologist. It's okay to talk with uh, uh, a, a, a psychoanalyst. It's okay. Okay, but don't depend on it. Gather the information enough for you to make your mind up as to what you need to do. Okay, as to what, get that information. You can do it. It's available, it's out there. Head to the library, head to the bookstore, head to a friend, head to your doctor, whoever has that influence in your life. Go there, ask the questions, get the answers, and then see what of that will apply where you can actually filter out everything else, all the other noises, because that's what's going on. You can't make up your mind as to what you want. There are too many things that you want at one time. Decide, put a pin in it, and decide I'm going to work on this. The rest of it I'll leave for another time, but I'm going to work on this right now and make this change in my life. Okay, you have to have some degree of control. Okay, we have another question. How do I respond to close family and friends who do not like the changes I've made to help myself gain ground in my health and success? Nothing I've done affects them personally. They uh, they just want me to do things their way, and can and should I reply? If so, how can I do this intelligently? That's a good question. How can you do it intelligently when you don't have the support of friends, family, neighbor, associates? When you don't have the support of others, but these changes that you're desiring to make or these changes that you've made are good changes and they are for you, sometimes you'll have to stand against what somebody else wants for you. Sometimes you'll have to have the strength to understand what your outcome is or what your outcome was. Okay, either case, you have a strong outcome. And see, somebody else is not living your life. And it may come down to where you can choose yourself or them. Now, if you choose them, you're not going to live your own life. Remember that. If you choose them, you're not going to live your own life. If you choose you, then you have control over how you think, what you're going to do, how you're going to respond. Now, don't expect that uh, uh, everything that you do is going to affect them and try to encourage them your way. Okay, if sometimes people just will not that they won't, is that they will not understand because of what's in their mind about you. This is a very discouraging thing for many people. It's very, very discouraging when we have people who are not, in family specifically, if family is involved, no one can touch you quicker than family. No one can upset you quicker than family. Have you ever found that? People who are close to you, you can become more upset with them. Well, this is not the thing to do. You don't want to get upset, and you don't want to be defiant, but you do want to do what you think is best for you. All right. So you've made up your mind. You know what you want. You decided on an outcome. You know where it's going to end. You pursue it every day, and it doesn't matter who think you don't. And you can think about what is and not what is not, or the current that is coming against you. Okay? So stop trying to convince somebody else of the change that you're trying to make in your own life. Don't get into that arena because it's guaranteed you will lose. People are going to do what they think, you see, what is in their mind. That's what they're going to do. Okay? We have one more question, and I'm going to answer this question, and then I'm going to have to end for now. It says, if I'm visualizing who I want to become, how specific does my picture need to be? Extremely specific. Extremely. You could do this even as far as, let's say, if you are in a movie that I described earlier, if you're using that process, write down to what you're wearing. Hear the words. Take your time with that. See yourself. See how you look. If you're frowning, see that. Don't be afraid of it. If you're angry and your eyebrows are bowing, see that. Okay? So the visualization becomes more of realism because you're being as specific as you possibly can, as you possibly can. Do you base that on other people's specificity? No, no, you don't do that. What's real for you? Okay, make it real. That's how specific you need to be. So don't rush through it and then, okay, this is what I want, and you're gone. That's what you've been doing. And you're watching this because it hasn't worked. Okay, it hasn't worked. So, what I want you to do is to be as specific as possible before you step in the picture and you erase the old you and you step back in the picture. Before you do that, go into that being very specific and then run the movie again. Okay, but with the new you. Same circumstance, same set of rules, and the same everything, the same people involved. If somebody else is involved, run the movie again and be very specific. And you'll find the more specific you are, the quicker and the better you'll be able to do this. Okay? You'll be able to accomplish what you set out to do. This is what you have to do. You know, this is a process that works. There are many ways that you can accomplish what I'm talking about. But this is one that's simple and something that you can do that does work. Okay? But take these steps. I'm going to go through them one more time. Take these steps that I'm talking about. Those steps are your number one, your mind is made up. You know what you want. Okay, in order to do that, you've got to be specific. And number two, you decide on an outcome. You're specific about that. Number three, you pursue it every day, even when the situation or the opportunity does not come. Read over what you've written. Remember, you're writing this. Number four, think about what is. That's another way of saying be very positive. Think about what is, not what is not. Push that out of your mind. Remember, you have to have a certain amount of control. Okay? All right. Thank you for being here. If you want more information, you can visit me at edgelessliving.net. And if uh, you want to ask some questions after this is over, you can do that uh, just by typing in the comments, and I'll see it and I will answer your question. Okay? All right. In the meantime, when it's possible, you can accomplish it. I'll say it again. When it's possible, you can accomplish it. So your job is to decide what's possible. All right? Take care, and I'll see you next time.